Hey guys, today we're talking about the debut of Raw and SmackDown on Netflix. I wanted to get this out last week, but I was sick. Throat was all messed up, couldn't really talk. So here we are doing it now. Last week's Raw felt like both a pay-per-view and not for the wrestling fans. It was very odd. We had Triple H out there making speeches, made it feel like a really big deal, and I kind of like that. The Rock also came out and made a big deal of the first match. But if I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't have started with Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. I think for the sake of all the new fans that were tuning in, this was a very chaotic match to start off with. It was kind of confusing. You confuse them, you lose them. I would have personally started it off with a high-flying, fast-paced match. Something more akin to Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero back in the day. Gets the people going. Now don't get me wrong, still a great match. I just think it should have been later in the card. I also loved the women's match. I thought that was a great match. I also kind of hope it's the end of the feud, because it's been going on for way too long. But nonetheless, great match. The next match, Uso, McIntyre. The only thing I would have changed is the outcome. I think McIntyre needed the win, but I also understand this wasn't for the wrestling fans. This was for the newcomers. And might as well make everybody happy with the faces winning. I get it. I would have done it, but I get it. And the last match, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, fantastic match. With one problem. The whole pacing of the show made me a little tired. And by the end of it, I didn't really care. Like I said at the beginning, to add a fifth match, I think would have made the whole show run a lot better. I don't think you needed two segments with the New Day, even though I love everything that the New Day is doing right now. I also really don't think that we needed a speech from Hulk Hogan. It clearly didn't do anything for anybody. And yes, this was a cool moment with The Undertaker and Rhea Ripley, but if it doesn't go anywhere, then it needs to go somewhere. Overall, a very fun Raw with kind of bad pacing. I think they're going to get the groove in the next couple shows like they did with SmackDown. SmackDown had plenty of matches, although a couple too many tag team matches in my opinion. And my biggest complaint for the whole SmackDown show is it didn't have the big fight feel for a debut like the Raw did. Jimmy and Cody versus the Bloodline 2.0 was a good main event, but I would think it would have done a lot better if you did Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens on this show and not the Royal Rumble. It makes SmackDown feel like a second place show. Compared to the big deal that they were making out of Raw, I didn't feel like we got the same thing out of SmackDown. But I do like SmackDown because it felt like a regular wrestling show. I think if they went half and half for both shows, both would have done a lot better. I also would have liked a proper ending to Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight versus a DQ. I also think that would have helped the whole show, but it is what it is. Also, it is Tiffy time. I think she's killing it on the mic. I think she's going to kill it as champion. Very excited to see where that goes. If I would have made a suggestion for that high-flying match on Raw, it would have been debuting Penta early. Versus Chad Gable, that's going to be a great match tonight. And if you couldn't have had Penta debut early for whatever reason, then I think that fifth match maybe should have gone to an open challenge by John Cena, trying to get a win, get out of that slump, move that story forward, instead of just a speech. But we're now at the next Raw, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens tonight. But you guys let me know what you would have done differently for Raw and SmackDown in the comments below. Let me know if you're excited for the Raw tonight, and we'll catch you next time.